today's bankers ought to really count themselves lucky, right? Because if this had been 100 years ago and we'd been in this kind of crisis, they wouldn't have just been called before congressional committees to answer for what they were doing, although they were called before congressional committees. If you look to the early 20th century, these issues about American capitalism, about the role of Wall Street, spawned widespread discontent, right? They spawned protests in the streets, they spawned talk amongst revolutionary movements, and spawned a much wider range of discussion than they have, at least as of yet, perhaps on the less desirable end of things, right? They also spawned a great deal of violence. In fact, when you look at some of the iconic robber barons of this period, J.P. Morgan, most notably in this book, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, almost all of them faced assassination attempts during their lifetimes, and they faced the specter of revolution. They believed that it was possible that the United States was going to erupt in some kind of proletarian revolution. They were deeply concerned about these issues, and I think they lived their lives and shaped their own political consciousness and their policies, certainly, in response to these much wider threats, but also in response to a very real and personal sense of danger, which is exemplified by this attack on Wall Street. I mean, when the Wall Street bombing goes off in 1920, it's incredibly dramatic, and of course, many people say, oh my God, this is the beginning of some massive campaign to follow. It's just going to get worse and worse and more expansive and more expansive. And in fact, it doesn't, right? I mean, this is kind of the last big terrorist act of its age, and then this kind of politics and this kind of violence sort of begins to die out by the late 1920s and into the 30s. The FBI at this point is not called the FBI, it's called the Bureau of Investigation, and it's a fairly small agency, and it hadn't been doing a whole lot of anything before World War I, when it takes on a lot of new roles in political surveillance, and it's really in 1919 that what's known as the Radical Division, that becomes renamed as the General Intelligence Division, is founded in August of 1919, and it's their first attempt to conduct sort of mass political surveillance, particularly of revolutionary and radical movements on the left. The person in charge of it is a charming young man at the age of 24. He's gotten his first big break. His name is J. Edgar Hoover. And so he's there from 1919 on, orchestrating a lot of this, although he's not the top dog at this point. He's conducting and coordinating a lot of the investigation into the Wall Street bombing as well. And for Hoover himself, he takes away a couple of lessons. I mean, in this moment, when he's very young and he's first coming to confront these issues, he does take away this image of the left as a violent revolutionary conspiracy, which was not a totally inaccurate, though mostly inaccurate description in this moment of 1919. But this image of the left as a violent, particularly the communist movement, as a violent revolutionary conspiracy, he really carries through long past the point where it has any substantive plausibility in terms of what the Communist Party is actually up to in the United States. So he is really, I think, embedded in this moment with that particular picture, much of it shaped by these early terrorist scares that he carries throughout his life. He also, however, takes away the idea that one of the lessons of the Palmer raids, which have a huge backlash amongst the libertarians, but much more broadly as well, is that a lot of what you want to do a lot more secretly than they had been doing in 1919 and 1920, when this stuff is very, very open, right? These deportation raids were done very publicly and very openly, and so part of what he takes away is a sensitivity to public opinion and how far you actually want to inform the public of what you're doing, but also the sense that a lot of it has to be kept much more secret.